Time to bring on my good friend Mid-Major Matt. We're going to talk college football. We've got some NFL. You are wearing your Eagle sweatshirt today. Is that an Eagle sweatshirt?
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
It
are
is.
you feeling good about your Eagles?
No, I'm not, but it's all right.
I mean, it's a
Tough
huge
place.
game this weekend for you guys against them boys.
Tough place to play. It's been a house of horrors for us in the past, but we'll see. Coming off of two really emotional games, a short week next week against the Bears at home. It's a tough scheduling spot for the Eagles, especially since Dallas has played one less game, considering they're coming off their bye week. But they've also had a short week coming in from Vegas. Should be an interesting game. Look, our defense is one of the best in the league and should be tested on Sunday.
Yeah, and going to Jerry World, again, as you mentioned, it's not one of those spots, though, where the Eagles can say, okay, we have to play on a short week playing what? So they have Dallas on Sunday, and then they play Friday against Chicago, like you mentioned. But the Cowboys are your divisional team, so it's not a look-ahead spot.
It's not, but I mean, it kind of is. I mean, let's be honest. The division's over. I mean, the Eagles won the division. It's just we haven't officially been given the division crown yet. But like nobody, I mean, what is it? I think 3 games is the difference. Dallas is not making up 4 games on us to win the division. So yeah, it's an important game because it's our rival and we love beating Dallas.
You still want a 1 seed though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But like on the one side, I mean, they have a tiebreaker over everybody except for Seattle. They have a tiebreaker over Tampa. They have a tiebreaker over the Rams, the Lions, and the Packers. So like they just have to tie a bunch of these teams and they still get the 1 seed. I think they're going to win, but this offense is brutal and the defense at some point I feel like might start giving some stuff up. I mean, it's, to come off of an emotional game against the Lions and an emotional game against the Packers and to go down to Dallas, which has always been tough for us, I would say I definitely wouldn't take us if you're thinking of taking spreads. I would take the Cowboys plus the points, if anything.
How about certain props that we could take a look at because it's the second game of this matchup. So I always like to look at props that didn't hit the first time around that might hit now the second time.
This feels like, the interesting thing from the first time around, if you remember, the Eagles didn't have Jalen Carter. So Javonte Williams, all those statistics he put up, like throw them out now because the Eagles have Jalen Carter back. The Eagles defensive line is a lot better than it was in that game. They have Jalen Phillips now. Moro Ojomo has been a lot better. So when it comes to some of Dallas's statistics, you have to throw it out because Jalen Carter makes such a difference. Now in that game, Jordan Davis is playing a lot more snaps and they had to cut the defensive tackle rotation down 1 because they were without Carter. So that's kind of the interesting aspect of this whole thing. To me, look, I'm usually looking at the under on Saquon's rushing, unfortunately, because they just can't get anything going. They're going to be without Lane Johnson. They may be without their center, Juergens. So therefore, I think that this is a game we might see Jalen run a little bit more. He had a lot of success the last time running against Dallas, so I think he's going to have to do it a little bit more. Chris Collinsworth talked about it on the broadcast. The Eagles might be saving him more for the end of the season than the beginning of the season for that sort of thing. So I think Hurts does a little bit more damage on the ground than Saquon does.
Well, I always like the Hurts at home on the ground. On the road, he doesn't run as much, but in a divisional game, a lot of those stats go out the window. Saquon, his receiving yards hit the over in the first game, so I'm going to stay away, but Dallas does allow the 3rd most receiving yards per game to running backs. Where else on the board in the NFL this week did you see any prop advantages?
Oh, I mean, I'm taking everything I can involving the Lions. This feels like
on the ground, in the air.
Everything. I mean, multiple touchdowns for Jahmyr Gibbs. I got it at like plus 200. I know that's a bad number. There's probably some other places you could get better, but like to me, this is Lions everything. I mean, with Jameis in there, you're going to get some short fields because he's obviously going to throw interceptions. And this is going to be a Lions. Look, the Lions play really well at home, and the Lions are probably mad because of what happened last game because they were exposed for a team that doesn't like playing outside, which we always knew. Jared Goff is a California kid who does not like playing outside as much, and I mean that's not a bad thing for him. It's just why it's important for the Lions to get as many home games as possible. I put a large bet on over 3.5 touchdowns for the Lions. I got it minus 140. It's minus 154 now on DraftKings. I would also I'm looking to see Jake Bates over 3.5 extra points is plus 102. I think the Lions Dan Campbell's the type of guy who will send a message and be like, all right, this is what we have to do. And to me, like, I would almost go, first quarter team total over, first half team total over, full game team total over. Like, the Giants have a good defense and they could get a decent pass rush on Jared Goff, but they're not going to get to him as much as the Eagles did at home. I just think the Lions are going to do anything they want against this Giants team.
The Giants stink against the run, and the Lions have a great running back, and that's going to help open up their offense, which already does so much better at home, like you mentioned with Jared Goff. Looking at this game between, there's a bunch of injuries. We've got Pittsburgh, Chicago, New England, Cincy. When you see these quarterback question marks that we're playing, Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh, Joe Burrow, Cincinnati, how do you handle those games? Are you not going to you're not going to pay attention to those? You're going to wait and see? You're going to try to get a good number? How do you approach injuries?
Well, I mean, I think you have to wait. I mean, I think the books do a good job of preventing you from betting anything. Like, I'm looking right now, you can't get anything with regards to the Cincinnati quarterback because they don't know if it's going to be Burrow or Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco was cleared, so that helps. So I think Cincinnati's passing game could find some success. If I remember correctly, maybe I think Christian Gonzalez travels. So I think he's going to follow T. Higgins a lot, which means that Iosifas could be a guy that you want to target here because I think he's going to get the lesser cornerback on New England. And we know that at times he has stepped up when they have needed him to. He's going to get a ton of snaps. I don't even know who the fourth wide receiver is for Cincinnati. He might have some value too. But I think even if it's Flacco or Joe Burrow, I think Andre Iosifas has a lot of value here potentially. For his receiving yards when it comes out. I'm guessing it's going to be low because they can't expect him to be that high. He's a guy that hasn't registered a lot of statistics, but situationally, he has to roll into 3 receptions for 30 yards, it feels like.
Indy and Kansas City is a big game this week because I feel like we're going to find out, are the Colts real? Are they not real? I mean, we're asking the same question about a team like New England because of their strength of schedule. The Colts also had a relatively easy schedule this year, and now they're getting the Chiefs in Arrowhead, a team that is desperate for a win as they are just at 500, Kansas City. How would you approach playing Colts Chiefs?
So I wanted to make sure the weather was good. It's fine. And it looks like it's a little 61, no wind or anything like that. These two teams are in the top 5 in least field goals attempted against them per game. And it makes sense. The Chiefs, they score some touchdowns and they force you to score touchdowns, but they both are top 5 in the league. When it comes to Kansas City is allowing 1.5 field goal attempts per game, 1 field goal attempt per game at home. Indianapolis is allowing 2 field goal per attempts on the road. So I guess if you were looking at either of them, I would potentially look at Butker there. But the numbers tell you that there's not a lot of field goals that are going to be made. I think Fairbairn, going back to last night, I think Fairbairn's over 1.5 is going to continue to be a winner because that offense knows how to get in the red zone. And outside of last night, they haven't paid off a lot of those red zone trips to touchdowns. So I think Fairbairn's a guy that we're going to look at going forward. But look, I think Kansas City wins this game. I really do. I think this is desperation time. That's a tougher question. I would probably throw Kansas City in a money line parlay because I think the number is short enough that you could throw it into a money line parlay that I don't have to worry about it. Or you could just take the money line, I guess. It depends on what the threes are. I know there are threes that are heavily juiced, so you're probably not going to get a reasonable money line here. But I think the Chiefs are going to win. I need to see you, kill the monster before I actually predict the monster is going to die. This is just like Friday the 13th. You watch Michael Myers, he gets killed presumably in every one, and then he comes back in the next movie. I have to literally see someone kill the Kansas City Chiefs before I write their obituary. So I got to keep picking them in this situation. And you got a dome team outside in Kansas City against a desperate Chiefs team. I'm going to side with the Chiefs usually in that situation.
We've got another game inside at night, Sunday Night Football, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Los Angeles Rams. The Rams are laying 6.5. The Bucs, they're 6-4. They're still leading the NFC South, the worst division pretty much in sports. The Bucs also, we're trying to find out, are they legit? The Rams are 8-2 this year. Their defense has looked good. Stafford's looked good. How much is too much when a spread like this hits 6.5 in prime time?
So at some point you want to back Baker Mayfield because usually when gets counted out, he starts playing better. I think it's going to help that Godwin's going to be out there, but I
He
wonder if
played for the
Godwin's.
Rams too for like how many games? 3?
Yeah, he did, and
This
there's
is
a
the
lot of
revenge game.
stories. A lot of stories being written about how the Rams saved Baker Mayfield's career. So this is going to be an
So
emotional
he's
game
gonna
for
just
him.
lay down and let them win. I'm just kidding.
No, I don't. I don't think that's the case, but who knows? Maybe. So when you look at this game, especially from the kicking angle, the Rams are allowing 3 field goal attempts per game at home. Chase McLaughlin in 3-1. 3 of his last 4 road games, he's had multiple field goals. The problem here is Tampa Bay's defense is not good, so I feel like the Rams are going to score a lot of touchdowns. The numbers are saying take the over 1.5 on Chase McLaughlin's field goals, but I feel like this is going to be a game won by touchdowns. So, like, the key for these field goal props that I love to play and the extra point props and stuff like that is when you're kind of projecting a game, if you have a team that's going to score a lot of touchdowns, that means unless it's close early, you're not going to see a lot of field goals. Unless the one thing that helps here is Sean McVay is a coward at times when it comes to play calling. He's not as fourth down heavy as other coaches are, so maybe he settles for field goals too. But like the numbers say, McLaughlin over 1.5 is not a bad bet for this game.
Bucky Irving's still going to be out with that shoulder foot injury this coming weekend. The Bucs have had to deal with so many injuries, and just like the Niners, we just continue to wait for those injuries to pile up to the point that we can't bet them anymore. But it just feels like San Francisco and Tampa Bay, whenever the cards are down, they seem to find a way. But 6.5, it scares me. Like, they really feel that this game could get out of hand. And I do like Matt Stafford at home. He's always much better at home.
Well, and this is a teasable number. Obviously, if you like the Rams and the 6.5 scares you, you tease it down to a half, or whatever you want to do, and you find out some dance partners. I mean, that's the other interesting part here. And I know you talk to a lot of like the odds makers and stuff, but like purposely leaving this number at a teasable area, knowing full well that everybody who likes Tampa Bay or the Rams is just not going to take the spread. They're just going to tease it down and find something else. That's always really interesting in my mind because the books they already know what the teaser is going to be this week. Every week when they set their line, they're like, all right, well, these are the teams that are probably going to get teased. And yet they haven't done anything about it. So that's really interesting.